Hi, this is Mandy. Lil Durk's prison escape attempt has just hit the headlines, and it's all captured on camera. Known for his OTF ties and hard-hitting lyrics, the Chicago rapper made a move so bold it's left everyone asking, what was he thinking? Was this a desperate bid for freedom, or did someone push him to test his limits? Fans are analyzing every second of the footage, while critics are already calling it one of the most daring moves ever seen. Whatever the truth, one thing's certain: this story will be remembered for years to come. Let's dive into what really happened. Escaping federal custody is no simple feat, and Lil Durk's attempt reads like a high-stakes game of chess, except the feds had him cornered. Known for turning raw street narratives into chart-topping hits, the rapper allegedly tried to outsmart federal agents by planning not one, not two, but 3 international flights to dodge charges linked to a murder-for-hire plot. After 5 members of his OTF crew were arrested, Durk reportedly orchestrated a bold plan to stay ahead of what he likely knew was coming. Sources claim Durk devised an intricate scheme to mislead federal investigators. His plan? Book multiple flights to confuse their pursuit. Court records show he first reserved 2 one-way commercial flights, one to Dubai and another to Switzerland. Neither flight was taken, but they weren't just random decoys. They were calculated attempts to misdirect federal agents. Then came his boldest move yet: a private jet bound for Italy. Just an hour before takeoff at Miami's Opa-locka Executive Airport, FBI agents swooped in, taking Durk into custody. The coordination behind this escape attempt wasn't amateur. Insiders say Durk's team meticulously planned the strategy, believing the mix of commercial and private flights would bypass federal tracking. But the FBI wasn't fooled. Peace with advanced tracking methods and working with multiple jurisdictions, they stayed one step ahead. Prosecutors have now labeled Durk a flight risk, adding even more pressure to a case already packed with evidence. Lil Durk's empire has taken a serious blow, but it wasn't just bad luck or loose ends that led to his downfall. Federal agents had been watching for months, piecing together a case from what he likely believed were private conversations. Their investigation centers on an alleged hit from August 2022, a scene straight out of a crime thriller. At just 32 years old, Durk had built an empire through his music, but the charges against him are staggering. Durk stands accused of conspiracy, using interstate facilities to commit murder for hire, and possessing piece including a machine linked to violent crime. The Justice Department alleges he wasn't alone. 5 OTF affiliates have also been named in the indictment. Together, they're accused of organizing a hit on Quando in Los Angeles. Prosecutors claim Durk offered money and opportunities in the music industry to anyone willing to carry out the job. When the crew learned Quando was staying at a Los Angeles hotel, the operation began. Bank records show flights for 5 co-conspirators were booked from Chicago to California using OTF funds. Durk himself allegedly flew to Los Angeles on a private jet with an ally, Casey Grant. Once there, Grant reportedly bought ski masks and paid for hotel rooms with a credit card linked to Durk. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment feud, it was a carefully planned mission. On August 19, 2022, the group allegedly tracked Quando and his family in 2 rental cars, eventually stopping at a gas station. That's where the attack happened. Prosecutors say the crew opened peace, unleashing 18 rounds. Quando and his sister escaped unharmed, but his cousin, Sava Robinson, tragically lost his life. According to court documents, the FBI has evidence implicating Durk as the mastermind, financing the operation through OTF's accounts. Wiretaps reportedly caught him instructing his crew and coordinating details. Despite his efforts to cover his tracks, the feds were always one step ahead. This case is layered with twists, including allegations of betrayal within Durk's inner circle. An OTF member, Jam, who was serving a 12-year sentence, reportedly cooperated with the feds. Rumors suggest he provided critical information about the plot while pretending to be loyal to Durk. Viral footage of Jam casually eating a McDonald's meal in an interrogation room has turned into an internet meme, with fans joking that he snitched for a Big Mac and fries. Despite paying Jam $50,000 upon his release from jail, it seems the feds got to him first. flipping the script in an unexpected way. This whole situation reveals just how deeply federal agents had infiltrated Durk's operation. They were playing the long game, tracking every move, tracing money trails, and listening to conversations he thought were private. The meticulous way the case was built proves Durk's world was unraveling long before he even realized it. Lil Durk's rise from Chicago's gritty streets to becoming a rap icon celebrated for his raw storytelling is now colliding with the harsh reality of federal charges. The stakes couldn't be higher. Facing allegations of conspiracy, peace violations, and orchestrating a murder-for-hire plot, Durk is staring down the possibility of spending the rest of his life behind bars. For someone who's fought so hard to escape the streets, the irony is suffocating. What was once a tale of triumph is starting to feel like the culmination of years of brewing trouble. Federal prosecutors allege that Durk wasn't just an artist caught up in his environment, but the mastermind behind a web of criminal activity. According to the FBI, OTF isn't just a rap collective. It's an organization with deep ties to street violence, with Durk pulling the strings. Investigators claim they have wiretaps, text messages, surveillance footage, and financial records linking him directly to the plot. They argue he wasn't just complicit, he was the orchestrator, managing everything from flights and hotel arrangements to the acquisition of weapons used in the attack. The evidence, as presented by the authorities, paints a damning picture. Wiretapped calls allegedly captured coded discussions about money and plans, and prosecutors claim Durk even instructed his team to avoid booking travel under any names tied to him, a move they say indicates clear intent. Add to that the use of OTF funds for flights, ski masks, and other expenses, and the federal case against him seems ironclad. Durk has entered a not guilty plea, setting the stage for what promises to be a dramatic courtroom showdown. His legal team faces the enormous challenge of dismantling the government's case piece by piece. They'll have to convince a jury that the man who's topped the charts and graced award stages is not the same person orchestrating violent retaliation. But for Durk, this isn't his first encounter with the law. Durk's relationship with the streets is deeply entrenched, and his past brushes with the law have always loomed over his rise to fame. In 2011, before he had fully established himself in the rap game, Durk was arrested after police found a loaded piece in his car. According to reports, he tried to toss the weapon into the vehicle, but it wasn't enough to evade the charge: unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. For many, such an incident would serve as a wake-up call, but for Durk, it was just another chapter in his journey through the turbulent world of Chicago's South Side. Later that same year, Durk was involved in another legal issue when he was caught drinking in a car. During the incident, police discovered a piece with a defaced serial number, a serious charge that led to aggravated unlawful use of a weapon. After pleading guilty, he spent time behind bars, only to be released in July 2012. But the cycle didn't end there. In 2013, Durk's home was raided by Chicago police, and another loaded piece was allegedly found. Despite his rising fame, the narrative that Durk couldn't fully escape the streets persisted. During interviews, Durk insisted the piece wasn't his, but the damage was done. Each run-in with the law seemed to reinforce the notion that the streets still had a grip on him, even as his music career was beginning to flourish. Growing up in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood meant Durk was no stranger to violence. His lyrics reflect the rawness of that environment, a place where loyalty, power, and survival are constant battles. For Durk, music was both an escape and a reflection of his world, yet his ties to the streets and the people around him continued to pull him back into situations that threatened his freedom. Durk's connection to the Chicago drill scene, a genre born from the city's toughest neighborhoods, and his leadership of OTF made him a compelling figure in hip-hop. However, it also put him squarely in the sights of law enforcement. His recent arrest has reignited discussions about his alleged ties to the infamous Black Disciples gang, a connection that has followed him from the streets to the heights of the rap industry. Durk's journey from Englewood to stardom is a testament to his resilience, but it's also a story of choices and consequences. Raised in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the country, Durk faced violence from an early age. By the time he was 17, he was already a father, balancing the pressures of parenthood with the dream of a music career. Dropping out of high school, Durk fully committed to survival, navigating a world where every decision carried high stakes. The Black Disciples aren't just another street gang. They're an institution in Chicago with a legacy steeped in power struggles, alliances, and street politics. For Durk and many of his peers, including Chief Keef, Lil Reese, and the late King Von, the gang provided identity and reputation, but it also demanded a heavy price. Von's tragic death in 2020 served as a grim reminder that no matter how high these artists climbed, their pasts were always right behind them. Now, with murder-for-hire charges hanging over Durk's head, his connection to the Black Disciples feels more significant than ever. Federal prosecutors are painting Durk as an artist who never truly left the streets, arguing that his OTF crew isn't just a rap collective, it's an extension of the Black Disciples. They claim the group has used music to fund and mask criminal activities, becoming one of Chicago's most feared organizations. The allegations suggest that OTF's influence goes far beyond music, tied to violent turf wars, contract killings, and a reputation for retaliation. Prosecutors also allege that this street-level power allows the group to tamper with evidence, intimidate witnesses, and manipulate outcomes, creating a network that makes Durk's case even more complex. Despite the system's awareness of how gangs like the Black Disciples operate, the feds aren't taking chances. They're building their case meticulously, shutting down every avenue that might give Durk or his crew an edge. However, the influence of OTF raises questions. Could the group's reach and resources shift the odds in Durk's favor, or will the feds' thorough preparation prevail? What exactly is OTF? While Durk has framed it as a family-oriented rap collective, its actions tell a different story. Over time, only the family evolved into a powerful organization with a global reach. Rooted in Chicago's streets, OTF has expanded its influence, with ties to violent incidents that have drawn both media and law enforcement scrutiny. Their activities have extended beyond the U.S., with alleged connections to criminal operations in Jamaica, including alliances with local gangs and involvement in lottery scams and the illegal trade. One of the most publicized incidents tied to OTF was the 2020 murder of Chicago rapper FBG Duck. Shot in broad daylight outside a Dolce & Gabbana store, the attack was a calculated move that left 2 others injured and sparked public outrage. Prosecutors claim the murder was orchestrated by OTF as part of a larger branding effort to reinforce their reputation in the drill rap scene. The case brought significant attention to OTF's duality, an image built on music and a reality entrenched in violence. OTF's track record shows its willingness to retaliate and its ability to wield street-level influence to shape outcomes. From intimidating witnesses to leveraging local loyalties, the group's tactics have made them a formidable force. Yet this very reputation is why federal prosecutors are pushing for a RICO case, aiming to dismantle what they see as a criminal enterprise operating under the guise of a music label. The fallout from Durk's arrest has been massive, sending shockwaves through his career. His highly anticipated album, Deep Thoughts, originally slated for release on October 18th, has now been delayed indefinitely. For an artist of Durk's piece, this kind of disruption isn't just a creative setback, it's a financial one. The project, featuring tracks like Monitoring It, Turn Up a Notch, and Late Checkout, promised to be another major milestone, blending the rawness of Durk's street tales with personal growth and introspection. Promotional efforts, including visuals shot in front of London's iconic Big Ben, had fans eagerly awaiting its release. But now, the promotional momentum has ground to a halt. Delays like this can lead to lost streams, missed opportunities, and a financial hit that's hard to recover from. For Durk, who has been riding high on the success of albums like The Voice and Almost Healed, this pause couldn't come at a worse time. His Grammy-winning single, All My Life, featuring J. Cole, had solidified his place as a global star, but this legal battle threatens to derail everything he's worked for. Producers, collaborators, and label executives who poured time and money into the project are now feeling the heat. Albums don't exist in isolation. They're the product of countless hours from entire teams, and when the lead artist is caught in a legal firestorm, the strain touches everyone, from the A&R team to marketing departments scrambling to salvage what they can. What's striking is how this all ties back to the street life that Durk has rapped about for years. His rise to fame was built on authenticity, with themes of loyalty, survival, and revenge resonating deeply with fans. But now, those same connections to the streets are threatening to undo everything he's worked for. The very authenticity that made his music so powerful is now playing out in real life, with devastating consequences. The escape attempt, booking multiple flights, including 2 one-way tickets to international destinations and a private jet to Italy, might have seemed like a clever move to dodge authorities. But instead of buying him time, it's only made his situation worse. Federal prosecutors see it not as a logistical maneuver, but as a signal of guilt, and they're certain to use it against him in court. Actions like this often make juries and judges suspicious, and the prosecution will likely argue it was a calculated attempt to evade justice. The most serious charge Durk faces is murder for hire, one of the gravest crimes under federal law. According to 18 U.S.C. Section 1958, organizing or financing a murder across state or national borders is a federal offense with penalties that often include life imprisonment without parole. While Illinois doesn't use the death penalty, the weight of this charge alone could crush any defense. Federal prosecutors have a staggering conviction rate of 98%, often securing guilty verdicts through plea deals. For Durk, a conviction could mean decades or the rest of his life behind bars. Those flights prosecutors are fixated on? They're likely to be framed as evidence of a deliberate, premeditated effort to escape justice. That's the kind of detail that could unravel any defense argument about innocence or lack of intent. Meanwhile, Durk's public image is taking a massive hit. The mayor of Broadview, Illinois, who once praised him for his contributions to local youth through his Neighborhood Heroes Foundation, has revoked his honorary key to the city. Initially, the key was awarded to recognize Durk's efforts to uplift his community, but now, with murder for hire allegations making headlines, Mayor Katrina Thompson has made a firm stand. She stated that Broadview holds its public figures to a high standard, and that includes avoiding even the perception of wrongdoing. While she acknowledged that everyone deserves their day in court, the decision has sparked heated debates. Some see it as a clear message of accountability, while others argue it's premature and unfairly punitive, targeting Durk before the courts have delivered a verdict. The legal case also hinges on intent, and prosecutors are expected to hammer home the idea that Durk's actions, like the multiple flight bookings, were calculated moves to evade capture. On the other hand, his defense team might argue these travel arrangements were innocent, perhaps overbooked or misunderstood, rather than evidence of guilt. The wild card in this case, however, is OTF Jam. Once a close associate, Jam is reportedly cooperating with authorities, and if his testimony becomes central, Durk's legal team will likely work to discredit him. They'll argue that Jam is snitching to save himself, possibly under the influence of deals or leniency offered by prosecutors. Federal murder-for-hire charges are unforgiving. Convictions often result in penalties exceeding 20 years, with some cases leading to life sentences. The feds rarely lose, boasting a near-perfect record in cases like these. For Durk, even a small misstep in his defense could be catastrophic, leaving him facing a lifetime behind bars. Recent cases, such as one in 2024 where a defendant received life plus 78 months for similar charges, highlight just how severe the consequences can be. Beyond the courtroom, the effects on Durk's career are already visible. The revoked key to Broadview is just the beginning. Brand sponsorships, partnerships, and collaborations often rely on a clean public image, and with such serious allegations hanging over him, many may reconsider their ties to the rapper. For an artist who's built a career on blending street credibility with mainstream appeal, the potential damage to his reputation could be immeasurable. At the same time, hip-hop as a culture has always thrived on authenticity, with fans valuing artists who stay true to their roots. But that authenticity often comes with a heavy price. For Durk, the loyalty and grit that made him a global star now threaten to bring it all crashing down. The tension between fame and the streets is nothing new in hip-hop. But for Durk, it's playing out on an unprecedented, highly public stage. As this case moves forward, the pressure will only grow. Whether Durk chooses to accept a plea deal to reduce his sentence or takes his chances at trial, the stakes are monumental. A conviction could mean losing everything: his music, his influence, his money, and, most importantly, his freedom. Even if he manages to clear his name, the process itself is bound to leave lasting scars on his career and his legacy. Durk's story encapsulates hip-hop's complicated relationship with the streets. It's a world that prizes loyalty and authenticity, but often punishes those same values with brutal consequences. Whether he overcomes these charges or not, this chapter will permanently alter his place in the game and stand as a stark reminder of just how high the cost of keeping it real can be. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click on one of the videos on your screen to dive into more content from our channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for updates.